Chutes and Ladders. Hey everyone, my name is Jason.
I'm Desiree Josen.
We have a very special guest, one of the owners of Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment, Josh Wheeler. Thank you so much for joining us today.
No, thanks for having us. This is actually kind of fun because there's not like a lot of good podcasts and stuff you can do in Georgia. So this is cool that you guys are doing something that we can regionally use, you know?
And thanks again for being here. I'm really excited to have y'all on and for future episodes. But
yeah, definitely.
I just want to know the background of Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment. Like, where did y'all start? Where did this come from?
It came from just myself and a few Georgia I'm not a pro wrestler by any means. I've always been on the creative production side. Let's just call it that. I don't do a lot of the booking. But I started running shows when I was like kind of like young and stupid and didn't really know what I was doing. Made a lot of business mistakes, got out of it, got back into it. Through my radio career, you know, broadcasting and stuff like that, I started helping with that kind of stuff with a regional South Georgia promotion. It's called Rampage Pro Wrestling. It absolutely like just stripped my entire soul of what I felt like wrestling should be, and so I was like, I'm done. I got out of it for a little bit, moved to Tampa, which I just told you guys off air, and I was really bored and I at the time because I still had the wrestling fix. Going to a lot of Evolve and FIP shows and Shine when I was down in Florida. And I was like talking to I'll just go and name drop Trevin Adams, one of the guys that runs the WN Live collective type thing. And I started like, I think I can do this. So I called my buddy. I'm like, hey, let's try this again. And he's like, you know, just do it our own way again. But we had the idea of but we want to be in the city of Atlanta. Fast forward a few, like 6 days before the first show. And so it went from being like, let's just do it to, okay, now let's do it. Pardon my language. And it was like, and so we went really hard for about 7-8 years. And then we made a little business decision that we probably shouldn't have made to play politics with a guy in Jacksonville. And it kind of backfired on us. And we had to kind of rebuild it from that pinpoint, and then COVID happened, and then we just never recovered from COVID like a lot of other places did. And so that's just kind of what it is. So about 10 years of just doing it and grinding, and now it's like we're back as what we started, and what the main vision is back on track. Like, it's not to get a job with Tony Khan, it's not to get a job with WWE anymore. It's to literally just get independent wrestling back hot in the Southeast. That's the number one goal since 2014. So
that's amazing. Okay, gotcha. So I just want to follow up on that. You said you specifically wanted to be in Atlanta. Is that just because of the talent pool in Atlanta?
No, the talent pool in Atlanta has been trashed for about 15 years. It's because of I grew up in Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta. My buddies, they grew up in or around Atlanta. Atlanta was, and I say it as a branding thing, Atlanta was the wrestling city. When we were growing up, we got 32 hours of wrestling on the weekends, from this old Joe Pedicino we had WCW. We were known as the Mecca. You either went to the Omni in Atlanta or you went to Madison Square Garden, New York. Those are the only two places you could really truly make a living in wrestling. And so it was just one of those things. When WCW died, I was like, what the hell do we do now? And no one was really there's a lot of indie shows in Georgia, but none of them were really trying to do anything bigger. And we were it's not like we're saying oh, we want 5,000 people in the show. It's we just want to do something bigger in the community so you can do more things. But no one had the drive and ambition to try it because, rent's a little higher in Atlanta. You're going to spend a little bit more on your shows, and you can't bring out a guy in overalls and call him the farmer boy and have him get over in Atlanta. You got to actually think about what you're doing. And so it was but it was all just reminding the city of Atlanta, hey guys, you're not a Falcon city, you're not a soccer city, you're barely a baseball city. You were the city. And so that was kind of the rallying cry. Where it all kind of started was we want to bring wrestling back into Atlanta. We were lucky to be in some of the coolest places. And then also it's a hat tip to the fact that I'm a punk rock kid, but I got into hip hop when I was in high school. My buddies were all they're big hip hop guys. So it was playing into that whole Atlanta is the underground thing of hip hop and Hollywood.
So is that why you specifically wanted to call it Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment?
Yes. It was again, back in my marketing background. If someone Googles wrestling in Atlanta, I guess who's going to be the first thing on the first page, no matter what we do. and it's been like that forever. We get a lot of cool things because if you're a business looking for wrestling in Atlanta, we are literally the first thing that pops up. It's not advertised. So I've always been on that front page of Google since day one without even trying. So
that's amazing.
We did an event for VH1's TV show, one of the Love and Hip Hop offshoots. But yeah, so we trained Stevie J and Little Scrappy how to wrestle. So those are probably the most famous people that have ever wrestled. People you may recognize that have came through us. We've had Drew McIntyre. We had Ciampa and Gargano. We trained, I assisted in her psychology promo game training, but Murder One, who's my business partner, the main business partner, he trained Gigi Dolan on NXT, aka Priscilla Kelly. He's helped mentor a lot of the young guys that are down there as well. ACH was our champion for right when we closed down, and those are like some of the bigger names that I think people know. Oh, we've had Zack Sabre Jr. That was a pretty big get for us as well. But yeah, on our website, there's an entire alumni page, and it's kind of even like the women's page of it. Like, holy cow! Like Isla Dawn, referee Jessica Carr wrestled for us when she was a wrestler. We've had AK-47, Marty Bill. It's been a who's who, but it's also like giving back to like the fact that like there's a lot of good Georgia and Southeastern talent that was like our thing. So like even though they're not names yet, like those guys like Joe Black, the Kinway, like they're TV ready today. Like I use the old Roland Alexander from Beyond the Mat. It's a shame that Mike Modest isn't on TV today. Like they're that good. So I've actually said for years that Chip Day is pound for pound the best professional wrestler who's not been signed yet, and I feel that with every fiber of my being. I really truly believe that Chip Day is just if he just played a little bit more of the politics, he'd already be in one of these major companies. He doesn't play the politics.
Gotcha. Now, let me ask you like a follow-up question on that. So if someone does sign with like a WWE or AEW or any of like the bigger promotions, are they allowed to wrestle for you guys as well? Are there complications with that? Has that happened or?
So it's a very like gray area. Like we were using Ciampa when he was still appearing for NXT. And I believe we used Cedric when he was doing the Cruiserweight Classic. So it's according to what their contract status is. Like Carly Bravo coming up at a show for us. He's wrestling for AEW. So AEW guys can definitely appear if you go through like the proper channels and things like that. And they're not charging you as much as say like because WWE does like a third party type deal. So yes, I could possibly contact them and say, hey, I'd like to bring in so-and-so, but then it's like, I'm now going to pay WWE a fee and their fee on top of that. Like, so it's a little harder for an indie show to just use a WWE talent because it also like most indie shows are running Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Well, that's also their travel day. So it can always work out. But the dream gig for me would be for like, Matt Bloom or Shawn Michaels to call and say, hey, we really want to like help you guys out a little bit. Kind of like what they did with Evolve before they bought it out. Hey, if I'm making a little bit of extra money to pay some of the extra guys and like, you want to put me on the WWE payroll in some way, shape, or form, I can do this for a living full time. Like, let's do it. Like, I'm willing to play games that I wouldn't have been willing to play 7-8 years ago because I'm getting older. So I got to start thinking about my retirement.
Absolutely, man. Good stuff. Now, that being said, you mentioned, we talked about shows and such. Approximately how many shows are you guys running, a month? Where do you generally run these shows?
So the very strong, and I mean to cut you off, the very strong ambition right now is we're going to be running at least 2 a month for the rest of this year. We found a good little partner venue that's going to let us kind of do our thing a little bit. So we've had a good partner there. So we're doing a minimum of 2 per month. We're calling it our fall season. We've been selling fall season tickets. Again, I come from a theater background too, so I always like when like theater companies do like the season tickets. So it's like you can go see Wicked, you can go see like Jersey Boys, you can go see News. Like, so that was kind of like the whole idea where that business model came from. And so doing that, so we're guaranteed 8 shows right now between next Sunday the 15th, or in a few days the 15th, and December 27th was our show of the year, which is our last show of 2024. We always do a show like around that Christmas holiday. Again, that's a hat tip to Starrcade and the Atlanta scene. It's also a little New Japan influence too. And then we probably will not do anything in January unless the calendar just lets it happen. January is a tough month in Georgia. We get ice storms. And so you don't want to like book a show on like January 26th and all of a sudden like there's no cars on the road and no flights can come into town. So yeah, you have to be careful with booking shows in Georgia in January because you don't know what the weather's gonna be like. Like you could literally wake up on a Thursday and like go put out like 500 posters and like you got the whole show going, and then on Saturday all of a sudden like the roads are shut down because there's ice on like a tree.
Gotcha. All right.
Nice.
So
Well,
typically we run February to December, and then in a perfect world, I would love to run 100 to 150 shows a year. It's not feasible right now, so we'll probably run about 26 next year, but we're running at least 8 for the rest of this year.
Nice.
Okay. Well, speaking of that, I know y'all have a show or a big show coming up this weekend.
We have
so
two. It's our rebirth. This is gonna be a lot of fun. I mean,
Nice.
so we got the one. And go ahead. I'll let you do your
No, I was
publicity job.
excited because I know we have two very well-known names that are going to be there. If you want to
Yes.
go on
So
this and promote
we are
this, go
doing
ahead.
a free event for the Wrestling Mini Con at Charlie's Collectibles that will be featuring autograph signings by the Godfather and the Total Package Lex Luger. I'm super excited about meeting the Godfather. I got him a bottle of Jack Daniels already. Taking some Dominoes. Gonna hopefully try to join the BSK. And then Lex Luger is legitimately he's not my favorite wrestler by all means, but for some reason, my friends and I, for the last like 20 years, we don't celebrate Independence Day. We celebrate the day Lex Luger body slammed Yokozuna Day.
Nice.
So that's our American holiday because he saved us from Yokozuna and the wrath of Mr. Fuji. So it's cool.
Well, he's
that
an
those two
Atlanta
guys
guy
are-
too,
are
right?
line.
He's an
What's
Atlanta
that?
guy. Isn't he from Atlanta?
He is an Atlanta guy.
Yeah.
He is one of the original Atlanta guys, and it's not the same Lex Luger as it used to be, but I've heard he's a lot easier to deal with now because his life's changed a lot in the last
Yeah, he's a
25 years.
Christ Amen.
Yeah.
Yes, and he went through a very traumatic health issue, so it definitely changed his life. But because I mean I've heard horror stories when I was a kid, like Lex Luger, like the guy you don't want to meet in public, like. Ric Flair will sign every autograph in the world. You meet Lex Luger and he might literally like throw you through the window for asking. But it's cool that he's kind of changed. But yeah, there used to be like, I mean, when I was really getting the business like 02, 03, I mean, Atlanta was still full of everybody because everybody still lived here from WCW dying. And then within like the last like 20 years, like almost nobody's left. Cody, I think, is like the only major. Cody and Billy Gunn, I think, are the only two major guys that still like live in Georgia that I know of. But there's more Hollywood actors now than ever before.
Yeah.
And
I will
rappers. We
say
see
this.
rappers every day. Like we see rappers literally every day at every quick trip.
No, I would say this for Lex Luger and for Charles Wright. I met them this past summer, and they are the two coolest and the nicest guys. So
That's awesome.
if anyone has a chance to meet them, I am like, just go for it.
I agree. And that's like it's free entry. This is what's so cool to me is like what Charlie's done over there is such a cool thing, and like it's a great way to build what we're trying to build, which is a community of like-minded wrestling fans. It's free. Like you can literally come in, get your autograph signed, you can and shop the other vendors, but then we're wrestling at 3:00 there. So like you could go get your autographs and then come back and just watch the wrestling. It's all free. And you like I'll be honest, I have no idea what we're gonna do on Saturday because we've just been like toying with some ideas, but we don't want to give away too much for free because we got our big debut back on Sunday. But I'm pretty sure something's gonna happen that's gonna make you want to say, I need to go to that Sunday show too.
Gotcha.
Nice. Now, is there any social media? Where can the fans find y'all? Do y'all do any live streams?
We do it all. We are AtlantaWrestlingENT.com on the website. Facebook should align with that. Instagram should align with that. TikTok, I'm learning with that. That sycophant world of Twitter, X, whatever it's only called that I can't stand. I still use that. And everything is still ATL Wrestling ENT in some way, shape, or form, or Atlanta Wrestling ENT in some way, shape, or form. And all of our Sunday events that we will be doing at our new home, which is called Meta Multimedia. It's a studio. It's like literally a soundstage. Those will be streaming live on our Facebook page, absolutely for free. So even your people in Florida, this is another reason like we reached out to people outside of the state of Georgia because we want this to grow nationally. Because I like brand deals. I think brand deals are a good idea for wrestling, and it's something that people are not really doing because they're just putting everything in one little hub on subscription services. And I'm like, no, let's give it away for free and let's get some people to say, oh my God, they got like 50,000 people watching on a Sunday afternoon. Yeah, we do.
That's awesome. Listen, thank you so much, Josh, for
No, thank you guys. This is awesome. I can always do this. I can always talk wrestling. It's the one thing I can definitely always talk about.
Well,
You want me to
thanks.
sit in and talk about last night's pay-per-view? We can do that.
that actually wraps up this episode. Please like, share, and subscribe. Not just to us, also to Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment. Please chime in. DM us at the Shoots and Ladders. DM them also. He would be more than happy to answer any of your questions. And until next time, my name is Jason.
I'm Desiree Josen.
And I'm Josh. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, brothers. Listen, you have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Bye,
guys.
friends.